This is episode number 125 of the Guns Magazine podcast. Hi there, and welcome to the Guns Magazine podcast. I'm your host and the editor of Guns Magazine, Brent Wheat. Thanks for joining us as we talk to the interesting folks who make up the world of shooting, hunting, and the firearms industry. First, before we get started, let's have a quick chat about our sponsor, Luth-AR. Luth-AR is home of the MBA buttstocks, which are affordable, lightweight, fully adjustable buttstocks for your AR-15 fixed and collapsible rifles. But that's not all. Luth-AR is also your one-stop shop for build kits, replacement parts, and custom accessories, including the chubby grip, palm hand guards, oversized switch safety, and paddle bolt catch. Luth-AR is proudly made in the USA, and with 4 decades of experience, they will continue their mission of innovate to dominate with high-quality products for your ARs. Find out more at luthar.com. Today's episode will likely result in listener mail, and it probably won't all be complimentary. Today's guest is Barry Laws, CEO of Open Range Gun Store and Firing Range in Kentucky. Barry has some provocative words for the way the firearms industry is run. In fact, he's not even sure if the local gun store won't go the way of the dodo and 5-cent cigar unless some changes are made. In this episode, Barry calls out every segment of the industry from manufacturers to shooters, and he names names. Now here's Barry Laws sharing his opinions on what's wrong with the firearms industry. Well, good morning, Barry.
Good morning.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. This is going to be a very interesting podcast, I think, because Barry comes from a unique position in that he is the CEO of Open Range, a gun store in Crestwood, Kentucky, and he's got a lot of opinions on things, and we're going to find out about those. So just real quick, though, Barry, tell us what is Open Range and where it's located.
We're just about 20 minutes east of downtown Louisville, and we're a gun range, yay, and a retail store. So we're more in the boutique end of the retail, and we've got a 100-yard indoor rifle range. So it's a really nice facility.
And how long you been there?
We've been there 16 years, and we also incorporated the game of, it's called reball, it's the same game as paintball, in with the shooting sports, because our thought was that if we get kids in, we can help make them think about having fun with firearms in the future, and as well as having soccer moms come in that may not be real familiar with guns and might not like them, be surrounded by nice people in a nice place. And, that helps promote the Second Amendment as well, in our belief.
Exactly. Show folks that us gun people are pretty good folks if you get past the stereotypes that our friends in the mass media tend to promote. But I'll ask kind of the big open-ended question to start with. Why did you get involved? I mean, of all the things you could have done, why did you decide this was the business you wanted to be in?
Well, I'm from California. Everybody can sit down. It's okay.
Welcome to free America.
Exactly. And everything in my safe was becoming illegal, like year after year, that I bought perfectly, legally. And I thought, this is just not good. And I've always been a Second Amendment fan, thinking that if there was one amendment that really made sense to me, it was the Second Amendment, that we do have the right to protect ourselves. So I thought, how can I promote that? And we thought, well, let's get out of California to start with, because this isn't a good place to promote it. Let's move to somewhere else. And we picked Kentucky and thought, let's make a Second Amendment beacon, just make something really nice, welcoming, that anybody can walk into our doors. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Martian, it doesn't matter. Come in, have a good time, and enjoy the place.
Exactly. So the gun industry has just been nuts over the last 2 to 3 years. Panic buying, shortages, supply chain issues. We could go on and on and on. How has business been for you guys? And I don't mean the sales side of it. I mean the part that makes it tough to be a business person, getting product, advertising, keeping customers happy. What's it been like?
It's been really up and down. Some people go, boy, you can sell everything. Isn't that wonderful? And I go, yeah, but I can't get anything to replace what I just sold. So
yeah.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. You end up selling what you got, but you can't get anything else. And we start buying stuff that you would not normally buy. And then all of a sudden things calm down and you're sitting there with a wall full of just kind of like, ugh, what did I buy that for? Then it's cash flow time, right? And then you've got to go, how do I get cash flow? So you sell those things you wouldn't have normally bought at a loss. I just sold a AR pistol and lost $700 on what I bought it for, because we bought it during the COVID time and we thought, well, we just have to have one of those. And nobody wanted it at the time, and we lost the edge of the sales time. And $700, that's just on one item, and that's across the board. So it's not been a great time.
Certainly challenging. I've got to ask, so when all this panic buying, when did you realize, oh my gosh, things have really changed?
Well, we had a lot of civil unrest here in Louisville. I don't know if you remember that, but we had a lot of rioting here. And Louisville's a beautiful place, and it's usually pretty calm. So that got people up in arms, quote unquote, and a lot of that buying of, oh my gosh, I've got to have something to defend myself. And people were buying stuff that they had no business buying. We probably had no business selling. It was just not good stuff, but that's the only thing we could get.
Yeah.
And it just got really, really crazy. And it was very hard to modulate, whatever the right word is. And then we got into that situation where, should we really be selling guns to these people that don't even know which end is the muzzle? So it was really, really a strange time.
So during that time and the subsequent times after that, obviously supply chain has been a problem. Talk a little bit about that. You know, I can only imagine you working the phones saying, I need guns, and they say, well, so does everybody.
That's the kind of issue with this firearm industry as a whole. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. I remember when I first started, somebody came in and wanted a, Binford 2000, right? And I go, okay, I'm going to get you one of those. And I looked on all my wholesalers and nobody had one. And I thought, well, that's dumb. How can I be in business and sell something if nobody has it? And that was just my first, hey, welcome to the firearm industry.
Yeah.
We don't control what we make. We don't control our supply chain. It's corrupt in the way you buy things. For instance, during COVID, I literally was on the phone almost 3/4 of the day, every day, just calling people and sitting on the phone and waiting for them to have a drop, they called it, where a manufacturer would send them something. And then I'd be sitting on the phone. They go, oh, we had a drop from 6 hour of XYZs. And I go, great, I'll take those. And then you sit on the phone for another 20 minutes and maybe you get nothing. But the people that weren't doing that got nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, that's not really fair. I mean, they've been trying to sell guns for 10, 15, whatever years, and they're just out of luck because they're not sitting on the phone. So there was no organization. And then the manufacturer salespeople are all kind of on their own. They're all fighting for products as well. So it just didn't make a lot of sense. And then you can ask me about internet discounters if you like to open a real Pandora's box.
That's about 2 more questions, so we'll get there in just a second. Well, for folks that don't know, the industry generally works on a model of the manufacturers build guns, the retailers sell guns, and in between you have the distributors. And they're the folks that buy, carloads of XYZ guns, and then they sell them to the retailers. And most retailers work with multiple distributors, and that is kind of the linchpin of the industry, but it's unseen. How many distributors generally have you worked with during this time?
We have between 5 and 8 we work with somewhat regularly. There's probably 3 that we, are our go-tos. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right. If you can't get something and you need it, you look to whoever else. But that was another kind of issue with us as retailers. So imagine you want that Binford 2000 I talked about. I don't have it on wholesaler A, or distributor A. So I go to distributor B. They don't have it. Distributor C. They don't have it. Distributor, it's like all these websites I have to check, which is so silly the way it's being done. And then I have all these screens open, and then I might buy it from distributor F, and by the time I check out, it's gone. It makes it so difficult for us as retailers to actually get a product, which should be pretty simple if you think about it.
Yeah. We're
trying to keep them in business. We're trying to keep manufacturers in business. And the oxymoron of this is the manufacturers don't seem to care if the retailers stay in business. It's just so strange to me.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask the loaded question then. What would be a better way to do this? Because the problems you have, I hear from retailers all across the country. It's a common problem. So in the perfect world where you have been elected king, what would you do?
Well, number one, and I hope to be king one day, number one is I would make sure that there is a supply chain that makes sense, that's reasonable for people. So in other words, that everybody has equal access to. And no, I'm not a communist, but I do believe if the industry wants to remain healthy and stay healthy, well, look, let me back up a little bit. Here's the deal. The deal is that brick and mortars buy manufacturers' goods. We become the expert on their products. We advertise and promote these products, and we're prompted to do this by getting a margin, right? Mm-hmm. So the manufacturer makes money because we are their customers, and we make money because we sell it to our customers. But the reality is we buy the manufacturer's goods. We become the experts for the discounters and the internet. Well, wait a minute. We became the experts for the discounters and the internet. What do I mean by that? Well, and the manufacturers are complicit in this because they sell their products at a considerable discount to the internet discounters and the big boxes. And these big boxes and internet discounters can actually sell product at our cost.
Wow. So
that Binford 2000 you're looking for, I go on a website and I can buy it from my distributor at, $500. Well, the discounter got those at $500, let's say, but then they get 2 free if they buy 10. So they got 20% margin already. I'm lucky if I get 8 to 12% margin, and they're selling it at my cost and making 20% margin.
Yeah.
How does that work in my favor whatsoever? So if I were king, I would make sure that there was a minimum advertised price for wholesalers or distributors, I don't know if we're using that same word interchangeably, and a MAP policy for the retailers. So in other words, if you were looking for a gun, you're looking for the Binford 2000, you come to Open Range, you see it's $500. You go on Spud's Guns and you find it online advertised for, wait for it, $500. Now, you, as the consumer, can go, well, I really like Spud's Guns. I'm going to go buy it from him. Or I really like Open Range. I'm going to buy it from them. And then it comes into a service play. But right now, we're being used by the manufacturers and the discounters and big boxes as essentially satellite stores, and we're getting no margin. So yes, I would make it that we all have to advertise at the same price. Now, you can sell for whatever you want. I don't care. You can give it away.
Right.
But otherwise, what happens, they come into Open Range and they go, man, look at that Binford 2000. That is beautiful. That friggin' beautiful red color. I just love that thing. I want to buy that. Well, you as a guy know this is true. The next thing you do, you get on your iPhone and you go, how much is that selling for across the United States?
Yep.
You know, it used to be you had to drive from store to store to store. You'd go to your four favorite gun shops in Louisville or whatever area you're in. And you'd go, okay, this is the different prices, but you know what? I love store X better. I'm going to go buy it from them. Now you get all the information from me for free. Well, it's not free for me, by the way.
Right.
You get it for free, and then you go into Spud's Guns or whoever, and you buy it at that discount. So I've spent 45 minutes of my time and my staff's time and my lighting and everything else opening up a store for a discounter. So back to being king. So MAP would be a good one. It would also be very good if your sales team that sells stuff to us, the wholesalers and the manufacturers, had some way of selling things, basically the same things, the same products, the same prices, and having the same availability to everybody. So if there's an allocated item, and to your audience who doesn't know, allocated something that's somewhat rare in the market right now, and certain salespeople get it. We don't know what that formula is. We don't know why they get it. and they can sell it to whomever they want. So the new gun that comes out, the Binford 2000 is right now a new model, let's say, they can sell it to whomever is their favorite, right?
Yeah.
So what if I'm not somebody's favorite? And by the way, this one gets me too. So you always see in the magazines, NSSF, that this is the retailer of the year for Ruger, right? Well, Ruger sent this discounter 500 of these brand new guns that nobody even has yet, and this friggin' retailer discounts them. Who wouldn't be retailer of the year? You know? I mean, who wouldn't be, right? So it's just crazy the way this industry is run, and it seems unfortunate that it's trying to get the brick and mortars to go out of business. I don't know if they're working that way or it just happens to be that way. So that's just a couple little ideas. I've got a ton more.
Well, I was told you had opinions, and you certainly do. So that is a huge industry discussion of the brick and mortars versus the internet retailers. Folks that run it out of a garage, they have no store costs, rental, utilities, employees, any of that kind of stuff. They basically advertise on the internet or through Gunbroker or one of those online platforms, and they can sell it. You know, their margin can, like, as you said, below or the same as your cost. So what do you think the answer is? Will a minimum advertised price solve that problem, or is there a bigger problem in the whole structure of the market?
Well, I think there's a big problem everywhere. I mean, for instance, here's just a couple of other ideas. You could notify us when new models are going to come out. And here's a kicker. How about actually have them that we can sell? So what happens is Ruger and Glock, I think Springfield did it once, were one of the only manufacturers that said, we are going to come out with this new product on, July 1st. And you cannot tell anybody about it, and we will send you, 10 of them, right? Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh my God, is this Christmas? And they do, and it's awesome. So and then they have it that I can get another one, and it's just brilliant how they do it. And then you've got like Springfield Armory is coming out with a new Browning, knockoff, and it's like everybody wants it. Like, I want one of those. We'll never see one. We'll see one in 2 years after all the discounters get them and they sell all through them and nobody wants one anymore. So it's just this supply chain. It's like nobody's thinking, and I don't understand why, like the National Shooting Sports Foundation comes out and says, we are a voice for the industry. And it's like a, poor redheaded stepchild. We get they say they're our voice, but they're a manufacturer organization for manufacturers. It's like the fox looking over the hen house here, and we're just the little guys going, hey, what about us? So I don't know. Here's some other quick ideas. Give the new advance of models that are ready and have them ready to distribute. We need access to the stolen gun database. Now, the FBI, the feds don't want to give it to us because they say, well, this gun might be, what do you call it? They're investigating this gun in a crime. And I'm like, well, if you're investigating it and it's right in front of me, wouldn't you like to know?
That would seem a no-brainer to me.
No-brainer, but they will not do it. And I've pushed for this for 15 years. Now, here's a good one for the California people. I always have advocated that we need a seat on the table at the most Democrat gun-controlling organizations you can think of. I'm available. I'll come in. I do understand that there's issues with firearms. I understand that people hurt themselves. I'd like to be there to talk about things that actually might make a difference, because guess who's on the front line every single day with guns? It's me. I'm the one looking the guy in the face that's going, I want to buy this, gun because my girlfriend and I are in an argument. And I'm like, sorry, dude, you need some help.
Yeah.
It's not the person in California that's sitting in their little hovel going, hey, we need to control this item. It's us. So I'm saying it right now. If there's any liberals out there, I'm willing to sit on the table anytime, anywhere, and talk about actual things that make sense, that are logical. So that would be an idea, right?
Yeah.
We need to be sitting at the table with manufacturers and having this conversation with them. We need to limit. Well, here's another one. Gun broker is one of my favorites. So when Gun Broker came out, I thought, that's interesting. It's awesome for used guns. Then all of a sudden, it was a marketplace for new guns. Then all of a sudden, it was a marketplace for super low cost, below wholesale price guns. And I'm thinking, why are they allowing retailers like us to sell at such a discount? I asked gun broker people, I said, hey, maybe we can have another system that's just for retailers that need to get rid of some of their inventory. Because I might be perfectly willing to have your 1911 you can't sell in your shop. I'd be perfectly willing to, give you what you bought it for to get it in my shop because I can't find it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. But no, they don't do that. They just want to make so much. And Gun Broker doesn't make anything. They don't give any information. They don't do hardly anything except make money off of us because we're in trouble and we got to sell stuff. But they could have easily made a section just for FFLs where we could trade our products and keep the low-priced, below wholesale guns out of the customer's hands, which would keep us all healthy as retailers. We need a rating system for wholesalers and manufacturers. We need to rate them. Guess who knows what guns don't work when they come in my range? Me. I know. So why don't we have, for every FFL, have an FFL Yelp or whatever you want to call it for manufacturers and wholesalers? They don't seem to understand. We are their customers. I am buying their product. If I treated my customers the way manufacturers and wholesalers treat me, I would be out of business tomorrow. Yet, we're just a bunch of sissies in the gun business, and we go, oh, well, they threw us some crumbs. I better kiss their you-know-what. And anyway, I'll get off that one. And co-op dollars. Here's one more, co-op dollars, and I'll be done with it. So co-op dollars. Manufacturers put aside a certain amount of money for us to advertise their stuff. None of us hardly ever use it because it's so convoluted and complicated. And I don't know if you remember AccuSport. It was one of the most brilliant wholesalers that were out there. They had beautiful ideas, beautiful programs. Unfortunately, they went under. But they had a method that when we bought a Smith & Wesson XYZ from them, they put a little mark on that. So when we sold enough of them, they would apply for our co-op dollars. Mm-hmm. So we would have those co-op dollars for advertising without going through all the hoops and whistles that these guys make you go through that you essentially can never get it. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, like I said, I was told you have a lot of opinions, and you certainly do. And well, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about ammo. I'm sure you've had your problems with ammo. Talk about that situation and where it stands and the problems you've had.
Well, lately, it's interesting that the hunting ammo has kind of gone away, and which makes sense, I guess, if you think about it. They probably adapted all their machines to making 9mm, which was probably at least 3/4 of the ammo people sell. Mm-hmm. We've actually been fortunate because I manufacture ammo at open range. So we manufacture new ammunition. Of course, the caveat to that is go find some primers and, the components are really hard to find. Yep. But we did our best of begging, borrowing, stealing. I've been known to take 3 of my employees and stand in line at Cabela's and buy ammo for my customers.
Wow.
So if I ran out of 9mm and somebody said, "Hey, they got 9mm at Cabela's," I'm like, "Load the car up. We're taking our guys down." Of course, we don't make any money out of it, but as a gun range, it'd be like having a hot dog stand and we're out of hot dogs.
Yeah,
We've got to have stuff for people to shoot. So ammo's been really challenging. And I don't know the full story of why it does make a lot of sense. If you were the kind of guy that bought 1 box of ammo every 2 years and now you're buying 20 boxes of ammo every 2 weeks, that makes sense that, we're going to run out of something.
Yeah.
But it's starting to come back now. The prices are not going down, and there's a lot of pushback. And again, for the industry, it would be wonderful if the big gorillas that have a lot of money could maybe subsidize some of the ammunition, because if people aren't shooting because of the cost of ammunition, guess what else they aren't doing? They aren't buying guns.
Yep.
They aren't getting excited about it. They're staying away from the range. They're not buying accessories. So ammunition is like the milk and eggs. And if you don't have the milk and eggs to make your cakes and everything else, you're not going to be around too long.
Another problem that, you see all across the country is employees. Are you having trouble getting and keeping folks?
We've been very fortunate because we are smaller and we're not corporate. So we've understood that people are not going to get the Bentley by working for us. We get it, and they get it. In fact, I told them I get the Bentley first, and there's still not a Bentley in my parking lot. But yeah, the employees, we've been fortunate because we're a very, open kind of a place, and people really enjoy us. I know everybody says that, but it's kind of true with us. And we get people that will come in and start, like we've had a lot of kids that start with our paintball arena, and they go ahead and then they turn 21, they get the concealed carry, then they work with us for a few years, and they go off to college. So we've got a kind of a entry-level way of getting youth through our facility. And then we found that retired guys are actually awesome employees because they actually know how to work, which kids these days don't seem to know. But yeah, we've been fortunate, so I can't say too much to that. Although everywhere I go in the world now, everything's closed because they can't find. I went to Taco Bell yesterday, and I couldn't go into the place to get a taco. You had to sit in line, and I was like, I'm not going to sit for 20 minutes idling.
Yeah. Well, if you're paying folks to stay home, they're going to stay home.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if I would have, but I get it.
One other business-oriented question is, payment processing and credit cards. That's another way that I believe the anti-gunners, and they are not gun safety people, they are anti-gunners. They are exerting pressure to make sure that we cannot finance our industry through the payment processors and credit cards. That's always a problem, but do you see it the same, worse, or getting any better?
Well, I think it's the same. In fact, we were part of trying to get, I think it was Kentucky Bill 123. I can't remember the exact numbers on it. But it was a bill against discrimination for the firearm industry. And the idea was that they would not allow banks to get government contracts in Kentucky if they were found to be discriminatory. Well, of course, that got tabled. I'm sure the banking industry has a lot of strong arms out there, but we were absolutely discriminated against when we were opening open range. Now, a lot of people say that because their business plan sucks and nobody will loan them money. So it's kind of like, I didn't get money and my idea was so great. But yeah, some people just suck. But ours didn't suck, and we did get funding, but we did have Chase Bank specifically say, we will not loan to any firearm businesses.
Yep.
And this was my bank, which guess what is not my bank anymore.
Yep.
The credit card processors, we've had problems with that. So now we're in a position where we have very few options. And when we do, we're an at-risk category. So we pay more, which brings us back down to these margins, these limited margins we make. If I have to pay another 3% for a processing company, and I'm already starting at 12 to 18%, by the time the margin gets down to paying everybody else and paying my light bill, there's not a whole lot in this industry. So this banking has to be figured out.
Yeah. Well, there is a nationwide push. You're not the only state that they're trying to tackle this on a state-by-state basis. Having said all that, I'll ask the big question now. Where do you see brick and mortar gun stores, shooting ranges going from here? Pull out your crystal ball and tell me what the future is going to bring.
Okay, so this is a conversation I've been having seriously with myself and others. Do we need to exist? And I think that's a valid question, and I think anybody listening to this right now has to start asking that, because what you don't want to be is the Nazis are coming and they're going to take out your culture, and you can leave right now, but you don't. So this is your financial time where you got to think about that kind of stuff. Do we need to exist? I'm not sure I can answer that right now, because the industry is saying, no, you don't need to exist. We can go ahead and put things on Instagram and, fun pictures, and we can have different media outlets. We can do everything over the internet to get people excited about our product. And guess what? They can buy it direct. Now, we as firearm FFLs have one advantage, which we have, that was going to be a bleep, which we have crapped all over, which is our FFL, right? And we don't use that to our advantage. You know whose advantage we use it for? Discounters. So back to Spuds, not to pick on Mr. Spud, but Mr. Spud sells his gun for $400. I have it for sale at $500. Well, of course, a savvy consumer is going to buy it from Spuds. But guess what? They don't live next to Spuds, so they have to transfer it. We're so friggin' stupid that we transfer it for Spuds. I mean, how stupid is that? I'm going to make you rich, Mr. Spud, and I'm going to let you put me out of business. So if the FFLs would stop being such whiny little babies and stop doing transfers, but you know why they do? Well, I got $45. I got $25. I got $15. Yeah, but you're also getting forced out of business, but they won't do it. And this is something I've been pushing for forever. So back to your question that I sidelined. I don't know that we need to exist. I think shooting ranges need to exist. So I feel for anybody that doesn't have a shooting range. But as far as a retail outlet, with Amazon's delivering everything in a day, and, you can get accessories, and they're also preying on us retailers. Certainly. Like Amazon themselves would go through scopes and all of a sudden sell them at 30% less than we could buy them from, just to get that market. So my happy side is that the gun industry, firearm industry, would get together and figure out what they're doing, make things fairer and make more margin for everybody, so that we could keep advertising things, put guns in people's hands, for them to see, learn about, touch, and feel. But I don't know. I usually know everything, and today I just don't. I don't know if we need to exist.
Well, that's an honest answer.
But we will not exist if we don't. Well, if we don't get the support of NSSF, true support, not them posturing they're supporting us, and if we don't stop doing transfers and making the discounters healthy, we're going to be done pretty soon, I think, except for gun ranges, and then we'll be able to sell ammunition.
Interesting thought. Well, with that, now this is your time to shine. Open Range, Crestwood, Kentucky. Tell me about it, where you're at, and how folks can come to your facility.
After that dreary ending, I don't know if anybody's going to want to come anymore. But you need to. Because here's another thing. Sorry, I don't mean to belabor this. But gun guys, stop being so damn cheap. Spend money at your local facilities. I don't care if it's mine. I don't care if it's Billy Bob's, in the backyard range. Go spend money and don't be so cheap. Stop trying to make deals all the time. Come in and give us your money. We need your money to stay healthy. Stop shopping on discount sites. Come into your local place. We're here for you. We're the ones that train your kids, your mothers, everybody's on gun safety. We're the ones that try to educate you. We do the classes. Come spend money. Stop looking for deals. Okay, there you go. Now.
I think that was called an impassioned plea.
Yeah, sorry. So come see us at Open Range. We're just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. We're about 20 minutes east. Like I said before, we do have the game of reball, so we have things for your kids to do while you're out. We do just private parties now, but we've got one of the few 100-yard ranges in well, in Kentucky, I think it's the only one, but there's not a whole lot of them in the United States. It's just a brilliant way to sight in a hunting rifle. But we do all sorts of classes, and our self-defense series is just amazing. So any way we can help you, come see us. If you want to bitch at me, come in and bitch at me, and we'll have a good time.
And do you guys have a website or a social media or any of that?
Yes, we're at openrangesports.com, openrangesports.com, and you can find us on Facebook and all the usual, characters there. But we have fun. We're open to everybody. I think we're one of the most, I don't know what the right word is, open and accepting places. We're not just, a bunch of gun nuts, but we're having fun.
Well, Barry, this has certainly been an entertaining interview, and I can tell you right now there's going to be some folks who probably won't agree with you, but hey, that's what makes our country great. So, Barry, I really appreciate you talking to us on the Guns Magazine podcast, and as I always say when we end these things, let's get out there and get shooting. Thanks a lot.
Keep shooting. Take care.
Barry Laws is controversial, and undoubtedly he upsets some folks with his opinions, but he also says things many other people are whispering behind the scenes. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, I'd like to thank you for listening to the Guns Magazine podcast. Guns Magazine was first on the newsstand, and today we're bringing you the most interesting chats in the gun world. If you've got any questions or comments about the show, and I'm sure many will, please email me. That's editor@gunsmagazine.com. Make sure you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast directory, YouTube, and of course, you can always listen at gunsmagazine.com. And while you're online, don't forget to check out our great sister publications, American Handgunner Magazine at AmericanHandgunner.com, AmericanCop.com, and our numerous special editions available for sale on the websites. Most of all, while you're online, I'd also appreciate it if you'd share a favorite episode or some kind words on your own social media. Well, that's it for this episode of the Guns Magazine podcast. For the entire staff at FMG Publications, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. Now get out there and get shooting.